How you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing good. So this is the small hatchet / axe strip that was I forged on the previous stream. It's made from S7 tool steel. This stuff is an air hardening steel. It's great for making drifts, punches, and this stuff. But this was a real, this took a lot of elbow grease. This was 1 inch diameter. I had to extend the handle so that way I had something to grab onto. Now Black Bear Forge, he did mention that you can quench the S7 steel in water as long as it's not glowing red. So I take my hand and make a shadow. So if I make sure that it's not glowing red, I can cool it off the water. But also you can use your hammer and anvil as a heat sink to make sure it's not glowing red, which is about 1100, 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can just anvil and the hammer to suck up some of that heat so that you can be sure that your drift, especially your punches, because I accidentally pressed punches, is not glowing red. If we punch this stuff in water, it'll crack. It's not perfect, but you guys can see we're getting the rough backside shape that we want. I'll be able to work the cheeks better. Now, of course, you can make an backside drift out of mild steel, and it'll last a little while. But because this is a smaller drift, I really want it out of something out of a tougher steel. Good. Yeah, it's hot. It's I'll show you guys. So I made this. This is an outside drift. So it kind of has like a teardrop shape. Kind of hard to see, but it's not as bright. It's not as hot as you think. So this is the blank that I'm forging the axe from. So this was a failed attempt at me trying to make a tomahawk. So I might be able to save this, but you guys can see it's off center. This is before I made the drift. So this one's going to be a lot better. Back at the camera now. Guys, don't be talking about Luffy. I know it's not the Pupper Dome, but I'm going to be king of the pirates. I will after I go to this I got an antique show I'm going to, but after this antique show, oh shit. I look like but after this antique show, I'm going to be making you know Mihawk's cross necklace that has a little knife that he used to stab Zoro in the heart. I got a little metal smelter, so I'm going to actually I'm going to make that because I live on a small pond, and I want to recreate the scene where like Mihawk just shows up, he'll just forget his sword. I do in fact have a sword forge. I just don't the economics. I haven't really made a sword, but I want to make Shank's sword. So if you guys know anyone that's good with visual effects, because I'm a One Piece fan. Like even though this isn't like a real sword, I got this dollar store sword, so like it gives me confidence that I'll eventually be able to make Shank's compass. Yeah, I'm good. I think it didn't hit me, but it fell. Thank you for your concern. Are you from Ace? Are you from the United States? Or are you from somewhere else? That's a good enough size for a small hatchet. Also across the world. Yeah, right now it's almost 1 in the afternoon. Yeah, it's got a ways until it's done. I mean, luckily, the axe eye, the eye is actually keeping its shape well. But I still got a good amount of forging. I'm actually gonna bring you guys, get you a better angle if I can. That's the thing. Trying to learn how to film stuff is always a challenge because you're like, oh, I don't know where to put you guys. But you can see enough. I got a new camera mount, but it is a little bit tricky. Thank you. After my mom died, my grandmother let me move in and she let me start blacksmithing, bladesmithing. So I'm very indebted and grateful to her. That's why I'm going to an antique show, because I want to be able to sell like drawer pulls like these. Simple drawer pull. I gotta finish it. I gotta drill a bunch of holes. But I do work a full-time job as a security guard. But I want to be able to grow a family business, blacksmithing, and also making education videos on blacksmithing. And also I want to recreate some anime weapons and try to get into some cinematic stuff. I like anime. I'm nerd for that. So I will be working on the power hammer, but that's gonna be the power hammer. But I got the treadle hammer for now. I made this little spring swage guide so I can squish out material. Think of like rolling dies, or like when you're rolling dough out with a roller, except this pinches. Give me a second. Feel that for me real quick? Just point it towards me.
camera mount. It's always a challenge to try to figure out where to put stuff. Camera mount so people can see stuff. I'm not an OnlyFans girl. I'm not trying to show my ass the whole time. I'm actually show what I'm doing.
Is this a live stream?
Yeah.
Awesome. And remember, kids, don't do meth or you'll be wearing these.
Nah,
Only kidding.
he didn't do meth. He just did. Not brushing. Alright, I'm gonna flip. This is not the best camera. This is the selfie side, but trying to get a better angle for you guys. And I'm not a professional. I'm just a dude. I'm just that guy that's just trying to make stuff. So I'm trying to not have the camera equipment fall. Okay. Alright, let me see. Can you see? I'm gonna close that door just because the light is blasting. Really hot. So I got the selfie camera. Yeah, that's all that matters. Like, even though I always feel like a failure, especially after my mom died, I just remember that every day I'm going forward. You know, there are people that have been through far less bad stuff and they give up. So it's like, hey, I'm gonna keep going. I'm not afraid to fail because failure is always an option. It's how you learn to get better. All the time. Alright, put it on camera. Hopefully. I mean, it is smushing it, so that's nice. It's starting to look like an axe. above, I forget stuff all the time. But besides the axe, I was able to make some hooks earlier. These aren't finished yet. And these are some pretty but simple plant hangers. It goes against the wall. That way you can hang your plant or pots. So, and some bottle openers I'm working on. So, one thing at a time. I actually got to before Jeff real quick. I gotta go talk to my dad. He works at a hardware store. So I'm gonna ask him if he can get some. I'm gonna ask my dad if he can get a couple of pre-made hatchet handles, because I don't yet have wood or the capability to I don't have a wooden bandsaw yet, so where I'd be able to cut my own handles. So I'll be right back, guys. I also need to get more water.
You got three of your lemonades in there?
All right, thank you. Yeah, we want to look. It's on its way. I just got to turn this back on.
Why do you have the door for?
Because the camera's facing this way and the light is making it dark. It's overblasted.
You have that on high?
Huh?
No, make sure you have that on high.
Yeah, it's on high, but it's on its way. I gotta still tweak stuff, but
How much bigger is it gonna be with that?
so this top part is still really thin, like both sides. So I'm gonna be able to widen it out this way and this way.
You're gonna make small hatches, it's not gonna be a hatchet handle, it's actually more like a smaller, open camera handle.
Yeah.
Not that small. Good thing.
Yeah,
How long do you think you got?
yeah. I'll take some when I take this out. I'll take some measurements. Hey guys, be patient. So my dad will be able to help me out for things I've learned, because I'm still new with the whole YouTube stuff, is the best thing you can do once you're on the live stream. Obviously, everyone's channel and niche is different. Also, I look like I look like a crazy person. I look like one of those dolls that have like the crazy hair. But when you start on YouTube and you're growing your audience and you're able to have live stream, don't live stream for like 6 hours. Just stream for like an hour every other day or when you can. Especially if you're, whether you're talking about stuff or you're doing EDC like the guy Carey Crew that I follow, or you're doing blacksmithing, it helps. And then eventually, it's like live stream has helped me gain a lot of subscribers, which I'm very grateful to you guys. And I'm sorry I've been kind of delaying, been behind on trying to get the forge build video out. I had a couple of stuff that went wrong with the files, and I got some other cool stuff coming out, but it really does help being able to live stream, because even if you are behind on making full-length videos or YouTube shorts, the live stream, you're still doing something interesting, you're still teaching people or showing people, hey, this is what I'm doing, I am not stagnant. I'll do this real quick. And this treadle hammer that I built like a year or two ago, I can't remember. This thing is fully redneck MacGyver engineering. Like, I did not have anchor cement. Yeah, it helped me. Like, I did other stuff and like some of my videos helped stuff, but doing the live streams, like some of my live streams, especially when I was building the power hammer, like I did like a couple of live streams where I was working the power hammer and also working the shop, and because the thumbnail was good enough, and also people are interested across the world in power hammers, because like in America and like other countries, other first world countries, like we don't have, unfortunately, we don't have the need for the daily blacksmith, but other countries where you need the blacksmith. That's why I love YouTube, because like you're able to see what people have or what they don't have here to you, but they're able to make up for it with skill and determination. So like I've seen a lot of cool, like it looks like the hammer looks like it's made out of junk, which it essentially is. It's just made out of scrap suckers. You can't get perfectly good material. Like importing like Cambodia or Indonesia, like trying to import stuff is like super expensive. So just being able to make something with what you have kind of inspires me, because like a lot of blacksmiths in America are aspiring, big blacksmiths. They're like, oh, I need like, a $5,000 power hammer or whatever. It's like, no, you can learn the skills or make friends with welders or make friends with construction guys so they can get you extra material to build stuff. But a little bit of funkiness right there. And people say, oh, you shouldn't use a hard hammer under thing. It's like, because the steel is softer than the other material, but I'm excited because the prototype power hammer that I'm working on, which you're currently hooked up to, the main column, if I can get it to work, I'll have it'll be like a Clay Spencer tire hammer where it uses the tire as the clutch, but it'll be like a spring power hammer where
because like a lot of beginner blacksmiths, like my garage, like my grandma's garage, luckily is quite large, and that's not an innuendo. She only had one kid. Some people have half the size of it, so they just have like a little tent or whatever, like a car tent. Some people prefer a car tent, like a little workshop. So if I could have a power hammer and a treadle hammer in one, it could take up a small space. I just realized it's not really facing towards anything interesting. I'm sorry about that. I've lost some viewers.
I appreciate that, Ace. You can go and sleep. I just appreciate the support. Oh, that's Gen A. No problem. Thank you, man. Or woman. I don't know. But thank you for your support and watching me. All right, there's going to be a weird spot. Put you guys on the propane tank. Propane and propane accessories. Or actually, I can put you up here. That might work. You're on the wall. Yeah, this live stream, that's another thing. When you live stream on YouTube, the VODs, the whole length videos get uploaded, but you have to make sure you put it to public so that way people can just go on your channel and watch your live streams and stuff. And eventually when I'm monetized, you know, I'll be able to get paid from the views on that. Like, obviously I'm not getting millions of views, but it's better than nothing. This is, I got this stuff in the scrapyard. I did some testing with heat treating.
but I'm very happy with that shape.
Because that hatchet slash axe blade was this chunk of steel. But sorry, that's the blade. When you're trying to drill stuff by hand or use a treadle hammer, you want to mark holes, measure with calipers, measure the center, partially drill into the piece on both sides. That way, when you put it on the anvil or your treadle hammer, you'll be able to put your punch, your slump punch, and it'll actually be able to punch through both sides. So even if one side's off a little bit, the other side will be able to compensate.
I actually just cut off a piece of the stock material. I'm going to forge this a little bit and then preheat some oil and quench it, see if it's oil hardening or water hardening. It's been a bit since I've tested this. That's why I'm not fully forging the bit of the axe, the blade side, fully to thickness, because if I need to split it, forge weld something, forge with some polycarbonate steel, I'll do that.
almost landed in the oil. Damn. So I'm just gonna let this sit out real quick. Oil at 82 degrees, so I'm going to take I have a sacrificial piece of rebar, already cut of steel. You want to preheat your oil, easiest way is just have a sacrificial, tongues are going to be all smoky. So you want to have a sacrificial piece of steel when you're, you want to preheat your oil. But you do have to be careful because when you preheat with a chunk of steel that's covered in cooking oil, it does do that. I'm going to clip this actually because it's nice. But the axe, take a shape. The drift that we made, the small hatchet, is nice. But yeah, so right now, we got the sacrificial piece of rebar heating up so I can preheat the oil, and then I have a piece of this scrap steel that the tomahawk is made from, and I'm going to forge it the shape, and then I'm going to make sure the oil is preheated, quench it, and see if this mystery steel is able to be quenched in oil, and if it hardens in oil, that's good. If it doesn't harden, I will reforge the piece, quench it in water, and see if it hardens well or breaks. So I'm happy with that, and I'm going to be doing a review soon on this infrared. You can see the laser, but you're able to get a good temperature reading. So the oil is 85 degrees. The forge, it's like 2,000. Piece of rebar, it's like also 2,000. So we're gonna take our sacrificial piece of rebar. Yeah, nice, and the camera makes it look a lot brighter. It's actually in the color of an orange. Put it in. Gotta be careful. Swirl it around. Alright, so right now it's very smoky, but our oil is rather hot, but that's okay. I'll flip you guys back around. So what we're going to be doing is forging that scrap piece. That's from the same stock that the little hatchet is made from. I've tested it to see if this is hardenable. It's been a bit, so I want to make sure that before I forge the axe bit, edge too thin, that I test it, and I want to make sure that this stuff is hardened. It's been a while, so I'm not sure if they'll harden it from hardened oil or water, but this is going to be the test piece. Obviously, it's always good if you can buy young steel. Buy stuff like Continental Supply or Trinity Steel Bearings, you get like bigger pieces. punch this little scrap piece of the shit with little mini ends. Because I can. Piece that I cut off, it was so when you have a piece of steel go through the rolling mill, it goes this way, so the steel grain is going this way. I cut a piece this way, so before I quench it, I'm actually forging it, because when you forge it, it does actually change the direction of the grain of steel, because you have the crystal structure of the steel, and if it was smooshed out this way, all those crystal structures are going in a line this way. Slice it, like a thin slice of cheese, across that grain, you're not going to have some good stuff. So, properly test this, try to forge this little piece out. Steel structures, grains, mimic what we're aiming for with the hatchet. And as you see, axe, little hatchet, tomahawk hybrid thing is on its way. But we need to be sure that the oil quench and water quench before I force the blade to the thing. Hot air oil is sitting at 120, which is a good temperature for quenching carbon steel and canola oil. The oil eventually gets professional stuff. Hardest tester, so I'll be able to see. This thing, the 60 Rockwell, 50, 55. I want to see if this can get to 50, 55 for Rockwell. We got the edge fairly thin, so get it to a nice temperature. Quench it. See if it's oil hardening or water hardening. So I got that nice temperature. So you can see I have some bare metal. Oh yeah, 65 grabs and digs into that. So not 65 on all. Just trying to find those file skates. 60 kind of grab, but it does kind of slide off. So with the 55, you can hear it does kind of grab a little bit, but it mostly slides off. If I get out of it. Yeah, the 50, like it grabs a little bit, but it mostly slides. So this is LP hardened in oil, which is really good. So that means I don't have to forge well a bit. So that makes me happy. So continue working on this. Back in the forge. So luckily our test piece, you can see the scratches on there. So this is between 50 and 45 Rockwell. Like the 55 barely digs into it, but that makes me happy. So that means I got a good deal, because this chunk of steel I got from the scrap yard, it's 50 cents a pound. I have no clue what the chemical makeup of it, but it is oil hardening. And it forges fairly nicely, especially when you get it up to a good temperature, like 1900 degrees, 2000 degrees. It actually forges under the hammer very nice. So I'm very happy, and our homemade little Hatchet backside drift is holding up beautifully. Grab the tripod. You guys see that back? Sorry about that. So we just need to do a bit more forging. Then we'll be able to quench the pig. Whatever the steel is, it forged really nice. Now that I know that, it should be oil quenched. Reaction. But before I quench it, we got a little, you see that puckering that's from the forging and stuff? I gotta grind that out. So that way, when I quench it, it doesn't have a high stress spot that wants to fracture. Should have my respirator on. So, you see how that metal is shiny, but there's still that hollow pocket? That was forming a cold shut, which is just when the steel folds over itself. Think of like a crumpled piece of paper. That will cause stress points. So if we quench this, there's a chance that those could cause cracks and it could spread and destroy the work that we've been working on. So you want to make sure if you see any cold shuts forming, hot rasp or use an angle grinder or belt sander and grind that way before you heat treat. Since we're doing pretty good, I'm gonna put one of the other blanks in the form that we're So at least I caught this now, and we didn't ruin. We didn't ruin this. Might be a little bit difficult to see. Just trying to grind out that little bad pocket. There's also why, if you're a beginner blacksmith, one of the best tools you can get is a corded angle grinder, because you have so many different options. Control. You have a lot of control on how you can shape stuff. So now you guys can see that we no longer have a cold shut, and we can forge this out. We kind of rounded the edges over, so we can continue forging this out, and also we can forge the cheeks a little bit more. Actually, guys, I have to get going. I got to do some stuff on my. I got to pay some bills. I just got a notification, so I'll be streaming back later. But thank you guys so much for your support. Be safe, have fun, and make some cool stuff.